JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 20th of January 2023. So yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a view of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, a quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our jfdbrokers.com website, which you can always check out for more information about us. So now then, guys, jumping into the charts. So the first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225, and there we go. We're getting a little bit of a boost here. Now, still does not meet my requirements, because my requirements were here for the upside. I needed to see a push above that 26,620 territory in order to go to the upside. Well, at the moment we're here. I mean, we finished the week here, so unfortunately we'll have to now wait for the other week to start in order to kind of see if we can get some sort of a move here through this barrier. But of course, a lot will depend on how the European, the US indices trade today. We'll see, yeah, how that goes, because if suddenly they continue to decline, because look, yesterday they reversed nicely to the downside. If those continue to slide, then we could see Nikkei kind of hanging in here a little bit inside this triangle pattern. So long story short, if you're looking for some lower levels, for example, at least wait for a drop again below this upside line taken from the low the 9th of March. Now, I'm not saying that this is just gonna, open the door towards further declines. It might give, investors a glance of what could be lower here a little bit. So, and then if they like it, then they will go through the doors here. Well, I'll talk about metaphors, but hey, that's the closest one that I could pick right now. But anyway. At the moment, I would say, look, today's Japanese inflation number came out. I mean, that was the highest since, if I'm not mistaken, 1981. So yeah, 4% came out, and last time we were at 4% was all the way back in 1981. I think it was October. Yep, on October 1st it came out. So 4%. Look, I would say, yeah, it's no, sorry, not 1st of October, but just in October it came out of 1981. Last time it was like that at 4%. We were close to that number in 2014, but I think it was 3.7 that we managed to reach. Look, the interesting bit here, of course, is the relationship with the interest rate. So let's say back in 1981, the interest rate was kind of above the 8% mark. So comparing it to what we have right now, a negative 0.1. Look, at the moment, I would say continue monitoring this. I mean, look, of course, you could start looking into it into much more from a much deeper perspective. Of course, I understand that, but at the end of the day, I mean, long term, yes, I believe that interest rates could go back up a little, but if of course if inflation somehow continues to rally strongly in Japan, maybe it will rise just by a little bit. However, I don't think that it's going to be a significant rise. I mean, the thing that they're quite comfortable with the policy that they're taking right now. Here, look, it's a different kind of world, it's a different market, but I'm purely going right now from the technical side, just because I'm just kind of trying to capture those short-term moves. And look, at this point, as I said before, I'm still keeping an eye on that 26,620 territory for the upside. For the downside, I need to see a break below this upside line taken from the low of the 9th of March. Shanghai Composite, very quickly on that one. Look at this beautiful move here. Look, I talked about this yesterday, this new idea that maybe, hey, this is a rising channel here, and slightly tilted to the upside here. Maybe it's not even the range. However, I have to admit that the range bit worked out even probably better, because I was talking about this idea that if we clear the 3,226 territory, I will go further. I will go further north. And yep, so far it's so good. I mean, it's ignoring the upper side of this potential idea of a rising channel even, and just continuing to go higher. So my next target is the 3,278, 3,295. This is what I'm going to be aiming for. And yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on this area. If we do hold here, then yes, maybe a bit of a retracement back down here could be possible. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index. So looking at the picture here, I mean, the 21,947 area is getting breached, and the question here is, can we stay above it? Well, so far I'm just observing this. Look, even if it stays, that's great. I mean, this is something that could help me next week. But at this point today, this week, I'm gonna leave this. I'm just gonna observe it, and I'm curious where this is gonna end. If it's gonna stay above that 21,947, then great. I will go further north. But by further north, I mean this hurdle here, the highest point of June 2022. Near the 22,450 territory. Dow Jones Industrial Average, guys, looking at the picture here, I can see that, yes, we continue to slide, and this is what I was talking about. We continue to slide lower, and we've tested this upside line. Now look, I had it previously drawn slightly differently, because I had it something like this way, and if we kind of approach it from that perspective, we have broken it to the downside. However, if we capture these lows, then we are still holding above it. Look, I think that maybe let's put this one here like that, but to be honest, I'm leaning more towards the downside, just because we have fallen below the January open. So yeah, we are now in negative territory for this index. Yesterday it closed in the red zone. So the question here is now, can we see a further slide? Well, to be honest, I'll get more comfortable with that idea if we break this upside line, and then we fall below the all remaining EMAs here. And if that's the case, then yes, further declines could be possible here. We could aim for that 32,514 level. So let's keep an eye on that one. Now, Nasdaq 100. Nasdaq 100 also beautiful decline. Look, everything's in line here. I talked about this. One of my targets got reached here. The 21-day EMA shown here as the yellow line. My next target is the psychological 11,000 mark. But again, let's go slowly on this. We're seeing a bit of a retracement right now on the cash index, 11,342 zone, something like that right now. We're getting basically a nice rebound from that 21-day EMA. But we are still below this 11,450 territory, and yeah, in a way, I would say as long as it stays below this, yep, there is a good chance that we could see another decline right here. The German index, DAX. So looking at the picture here, we can see that yes, it had a slide, a beautiful slide yesterday. Look how well this worked out. I talked about that 15,000 mark, 15,084. If we clear that, then my next target is the 38.2% retracement here on the Fibonacci. and on the Fibonacci extension, I have to point this out. So yeah, looking quite interesting. The cash index right now is sitting at around just fractionally below the psychological 15,000 mark. So okay, we had a bit of a retracement here, but still we're below that that 15,000 mark. Look, my target still is the same, 14,860 area, approximately around here. That's the 38.2. And just out of curiosity, I just want to quickly check what's the Fibonacci here, the normal, not the extension one, but the Fibonacci. Okay, so we have, look, we have retraced yesterday to 14,920 on the Fibonacci here. That's a perfect hit, I would say. Okay, we maybe briefly visited the area slightly, but just 14 pips below that, but hey, that's okay. Look, now we're rebounding. I'm gonna remove this for now. I'm gonna remove this main one, and I'm gonna keep this. So if we somehow retrace here back to this area, I would say it could become, yeah, quite interesting here, maybe for just to catch a rebound of some sort. But if it starts falling below the 14,860, then yes, a move towards that 21-day EMA could be possible. Now jumping into gold, and gold is looking quite interesting here as well. Look at this massive, beautiful rally we had. We created a new high for this week yesterday, and I think today. Let me just double check that very quickly. So 35. Yes, yesterday we hit a new high for this week, for this month as well. The 1735 territory got triggered. Look, and previously when I said that if we push through this 1919 territory, sorry, not 1919, this one 1929 territory, I'm gonna aim for higher levels, and especially if we stay above that 1929. Currently we're seeing a bit of a drop back to the downside. Look, I think that the easiest option here right now, given that we had already quite a decent up move here, just go from those breakouts, wait for another push above the 1935 territory. This will confirm a forthcoming higher high, and yep, my next target. In general, I am aiming for that psychological 2000 mark, but hey, anything can happen. It could even stall somewhere around here, I believe, so don't exclude that. So that's 1958 level. But yeah, let's go slowly on this, step by step, and for now I'm leaning a little bit more towards the upside, but I'm waiting for that confirmation break. For the downside, well, this is where I will adjust my levels a little bit, and I will look at some lower levels if we do fall below this 1897 territory right here somewhere. If that's the case, then yes, I will aim for this short-term tentative upside support line taken from the low of the 23rd of November. Now, this is the reason why it's tentative, because it's not really clear. I mean, is it somewhere around here a little bit, or like, yeah, I'll put this for now. I'll leave it for now here. Now, WTI oil. Okay. I don't know if Evu here is in the is watching. Basically, Evu asked me a question yesterday in the comment section after the video got uploaded. So yeah. I thank you very much for that question. I mean, basically, what he said that yesterday OPEC just announced that they expect an increase of oil demand. So it's kind of a little bit different to what I was saying yesterday. But this is the thing. Look, as many traders there are, that's how many opinions there are. In my opinion, what I believe here is that, look, from the shorter term perspective, yes, I mean, OPEC is saying that, hey, we expect demand to boost, and they're not going to be wrong. The demand will boost. The demand could go higher, and this is why, for example, I am aiming for some of these higher levels here. However, in general, I believe that the market eventually, if we are going into that like recession, whatever everybody's talking about, and in general, at the moment, still everything's way too expensive, and the first thing that you cut, like on oil products, so this is something to kind of consider. Yes, oil in general is used a lot in our modern day world, in modern day life, but don't forget that oil is kind of the one that gonna suffers first. And if everybody just starts losing jobs, for example, if everybody starts, and because I mean, we already see that trend happening where Microsoft is laying off. Now other big tech companies are laying off, not only tech, just in general companies. And the companies that we don't even hear about on the news, those are cutting right now. So look, it's a tricky moment, and that's why, yes, demand could boost up, could boost the price here. It could go a little bit higher, but if unemployment starts going down, guys, I mean, don't expect oil to hang around way too high for too long. In general, look, in my ideal world, in my ideal technical analysis world, I would like to see this going, let's say, further north here, going up here, testing this 86 territory near the 208 EMA. If it provides, or if it fails to provide resistance, a further move higher, ideally I would like to see maybe even a test of this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 8th of March, and if it holds, another decline here could be possible. However, that could be a good opportunity for the bulls. But look, initially what I'm targeting here is this 208 EMA. It might go here, but if it's going to have the same problem as it had here in the beginning of November, beginning of October, and the end of August, well, I mean, we could see a bit of a, bouncing around here, maybe even, like I said, pushing above that 208 EMA for a while, and then falling back down. Keep that in mind. Keep this idea in mind. Could be a good one. Let's see if it is. But of course, before even going there, I need to clear this level. I need to clear this 82 territory. I talked a lot about this already. So if we go through it, great, I'll go higher. For the downside, I will start looking at some lower levels if we fall below the 78.58 level, and then we could test this upside support line taken from the low of the 9th of December. So let's keep that in mind. DXY, the dollar index. So a dollar index is an interesting one here, and yeah, it's still kind of looking towards the downside, towards that 101.30 zone. In general, look, I would say if we are looking for some lower levels, then yes, there is still a good chance for this one to move further south. But by further south, I mean this 101.30. For the upside, I need to see a push above that 103.45 level, and then we could go from there. Ethereum. Ethereum is, it rebounded from this 208 EMA, so that's a positive. However, I would prefer still to see a push above this 1610 territory in order to go higher, because this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and potentially more buyers could join in. Now, look, I mean, this could be the case. I mean, so far it seems to be the case, but let's wait for that confirmation break. I think it would be a little bit easier here. So if we do push through it, through this barrier, through this 1610 territory, then yes, this will confirm a forthcoming higher high. And my next target is the 1676 and the 1788. For the downside, well, this is where the interesting moment comes in. I think I will, first of all, get rid of this downside line, and I think that maybe I will convert it into an upside one, but let me just see if this is gonna be okay here. Okay-ish, yeah, there we go. So look, something like this is still kind of possible. So we have this upside line here, but I think that the better option for aiming lower is to wait for a drop below the current low of this week near the 1480 zone. A drop below this would confirm, wouldn't confirm, but it could open the door towards that upside support line taken from the low of the 18th of June of last year, of course. Jumping into a few pairs, AUD, JPY. Look, I talked about this and I said that, hey guys, I mean, given that we failed to stay above this downside line, we kind of broke it, but we failed to stay above it. Look, if we once again do this. If we can break this downside line, great, I will go higher. And of course, if we can stay above it. But given that where it is right now, I mean, it came closer to this short-term tentative upside support line taken from the low of the 20th of December. If we clear it, then yes, I will consider a move to the downside. Simple as that. AUD USD. So this one's had a nice move yesterday to the downside. Well, let me just get rid of this. Now it's a little bit like retracing or something like that. I would say, look, at this point, it's not really very attractive to me because it's at this point. Yes, it kind of rebounded from the area near the 21-day EMA, but again, can it be maintained? Look, it's trying to kind of go back to this territory, to that 0.6950. Look, I talked about this area previously. I looked at it as a good support, which, if it gets broken, could open the door towards lower levels. Now, if the pair continues to trade below it, then yes, I will go still to the downside. But if we climb back up above it, this is where I will get a little bit more cautious, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna keep an eye on that psychological 0.70 territory. If we clear that, and then I will go higher, but then I have this I call it the unlogical line, which is kind of okay and kind of not. So it's like, look, I mean, there's nothing like that, like a rising resistance line or something, you know, upside resistance line. But I'm keeping it for now because kind of so far it's respecting. I don't know, maybe this is going to be something new here, but so far it's respecting it. Maybe it's just forming this nice rising wedge here, which is a bearish indication, of course. But look, let's not rush into anything. Let's go slowly. If we want to go higher, I will just say in a simple way that a push above that 0.70 territory would be needed. USD JPY is, yeah, it's an interesting one. So if we push higher here, and if we go to this downside line here, yes, I will consider still a possible hold up. Look, because in general at the moment it's still to the downside. The trend is still to the downside, and given that the markets are kind of selling off a little bit, equity markets are selling off a little bit, the yen buying could resume, and this is where, you know, this pair could go further south here. My next target is the 126.36. I mentioned that already. So as long as we stay somewhere below this downside line, that's my target. For the upside, a break of this downside line is required. USDCHF, so we're still hanging below this 0.9195. If we continue to trade below it, then yes, I will go towards my target, 0.9086, which is, by the way, also the lowest point of November of 2021. This is where we found support this week. Would like to see a retest of that area, but for that I need to see the pair continuing to trade below the 0.9195 zone. If we push back above it, I'll take a neutral stand, but in order for me to go higher, a break of this upper side of the falling channel is needed. GBP/NZD, beautiful move to the upside, and look at this. So this is the fun bit, because look, I talked about this and I said that, hey, if we break the upper side of this falling channel, I'll go higher. I'll aim, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to aim for these two EMAs. Well, we aimed, we got them, and now we're drifting back down, because what I said that, look, I think it was a similar situation on DXY, something like that. So we also had a falling channel here, then we broke it to the upside, we traveled higher, tested the 200-day EMA, and look at this, we drifted back down. Let's see if GBP/NZD is doing the same thing or not. But still, either way, I would say, look, if you're looking for some higher levels, a push above yesterday's high would be needed, a 1.9405. That's kind of the, you know, the opening door for the upside. But for the downside, I think that I would wait a little bit longer, because I have this short-term upside support line now here, taken from the low of the 30th of December. But of course, I mean, I previously talked about this 1.8958. I'm still keeping an eye on it, but at this point, I will already start looking at some lower levels. If we break this upside line, then I'll be very cautious around here. If we don't get a hold up, great, we'll go further south. But if we do get a hold up, then yeah, maybe a bit of a rebound from this little short-term upside line could be possible, and we could go back up. But in that case, I would need another break again above this upper side of the falling channel. So look, once we get to that, if we do get to that point where we're going to test this upside line, then I will take it from there, and I'll see if we are ready to break it or not ready to break it. So let's see how this is going to play out. Now, GBP JPY. So GBP JPY here, I would say it's quite an interesting one. It's looking at the at this downside line here. I'm still looking at it because look, this week we broke it. We're coming back up here, but we are finding a resistance near that 21-day EMA. So if you're looking for some higher levels at this point, I would say wait for a break of this downside line, and then we could go higher for the upside. For the downside, I will take a very conservative approach here, and I'll wait for a drop below the 155.65 territory at least, and then we could start aiming lower. GBP USD, so this one's still flirting with that 1.2444 level. Look, I'm not going to say anything new here, but I'm just still waiting for a clear break through this barrier, and if I get that, this will confirm a forthcoming higher high. Simple as that. For the downside, a drop below the 200-day EMA for me could do the trick. Euro JPY. So Euro JPY is an interesting one here, and look, I mean, I talked about this previously, and I said that hey, it seems like we're oscillating around that 200-day EMA, just that. This is the 200-day EMA shown as a black line, and we are just kind of oscillating around it. So we're now we've rebounded from this upside line, or should I say maybe the lower side of the potential triangle pattern here. We rebounded from it, and we're kind of now pushing towards the middle of it, of this formation, where the 200-day EMA is sitting. So if we can clear this 200-day EMA to the upside here, then yes, I'll go towards the upper side of this potential formation. But if we struggle, then maybe the question here is, can we see a nice drop here lower? But for a drop lower, I would need to see a move below, initially below this area, below that 138 zone. Then of course we have a problem with the lowest point of January and the lowest point of September of last year. But if we clear that area, first of all, we'll confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we'll create a new low for January if that happens soon, of course, within this month. And then we'll take it from there. Euro CHF, just a quick update, nice beautiful rebound, great. So what's next? Look, previously I talked about this idea, said that if we rebound from that 200-day EMA, I'll go back up. Now we rebounded from this we dropped below it, but we rebounded from this upside line. So I think that the safer option right now is something like this. So if we do climb back above the 200-day EMA and above that 0.9957, then yes, I will consider a move higher, a move maybe back to this 1.0098 level, and then we'll take it from there. But for the downside, I need to see a break of this upside line taken from the low of the 12th of October, and then we could go from there. So let's keep that in mind. EURUSD finally. So on this one we have we're still waiting for that 1.0874. If we clear that, then yes, I'll go to the upside. I'll aim for that 1.0936, and then I will aim also for maybe some higher levels, like for example this 1.1185 and so on and so on. But in order to go for those higher levels, a push at least above this 1.0874 territory is required. Yes, we had a bit of a false breakout here this week, but in general, I think that this is going to be my starting point. Yes, I'm going to keep an eye, of course. I'm going to keep an eye on the current highest point of January as well. But look, I'll start looking at some higher levels already if we do push above the 1.0874. For the downside, I think that although I do like a few levels here, but I think I'm going to start overcrowding the chart. So look, I think that for me right now, if I want to go lower, you could start already looking at some lower levels if we drop below the 1.0766 here. If you clear that, then yes, my next target is the 1.0736. But if you clear that, we have the 21-day EMA, which is right near this. Where's my horizontal, near this inside swing high of the 30th of December, near the 1.0713, and that's what I'm saying. I didn't want to overcrowd the chart, and that's why for now, I'm gonna get rid of those. I'm going to start looking at the downside from the 1.0766, but then I have this obstacle here, the 1.0736, and yeah, so on and so on. So you could just kind of play it this way, but don't forget about the 21-day EMA, which could kind of provide that support. And by support, I'm not saying that exact support, for example, it will hit that and rebound, back up. No, it could do something like here, oscillate around it a little bit, and then kind of, move back up. So don't exclude that scenario. So guys, that's it for this session, and I really hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching, listening. I really appreciate your views, your likes, your comments, everything. So I really hope you, like I said, enjoyed this week. Thank you very much for everything, for your support. Have a beautiful weekend. Have a wonderful trading day today. Don't overtrade. It's Friday, guys. Not a lot is happening on the economic calendar, but yeah, just try not to overtrade, and everything will be fine. See you on Monday, guys, and I'll see you on Monday. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.